And those revisions or changes, additions, just were revisions for bills that came in today. Moving the preliminary budget, prioritizing it higher up on the agenda. And then ARPA federal funding, which I'm gonna hopefully have a little bit of time to talk to you about.
Okay, thank you, Anita.
I would like to add a couple of things to it.
There you go.
Just-
ahead.
There was a follow-up, I guess. Andrew is going to look at that executive session thing, whether or not we should have made a motion sort of scenario. And then the guy right next to Steve Peterson, just to kind of revamp on that.
I want that online. I've got an update on that on second. I can do it after I do second. I've got an update on that.
Okay, then I'm good.
I think I see that bridge guardrails to finish the project. Tim, did you?
I got an update on that also. That can go under when I talk to the business.
And then the other one was what?
For craft,
Oh, for crafts home.
yeah, that would be
Okay.
under unfinished.
Yep, okay.
Okay, any further changes in the agenda? Hearing no one, we'll do a voice vote. All in favor of approval of the agenda, signal by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Hearing none, motion passed. We're going on to the election results. Anita, do you have that?
Sure do. So our special election from July 20th came in. We did have a canvassing meeting, but just to recap for the public, we had 162 out of votes out of 450 ballots for the day. Ward 1, recovering Tiffany Wheeler to hold the highest number of votes, and Ward 2 with Aiden Clark holding that high number of votes. So our canvassing board did accept those counts from the county. So tonight, our board here would properly like to invite them up to do oaths of office and accept their positions if they're here. They're both here. Whoever first.
Do you have?
I do have them. Yep.
I'll go ahead.
Just want to read these aloud and then come sit at our table. That would be wonderful. And or that too, if you want to do them at the same time. Yes.
Should do it at the microphone.
We're very grateful to have you on board.
I, Tiffany Wheeler of Surrey,
I, Aiden Clark of Surrey, do solemnly
may
swear
or
that-
affirm
that I will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the North,
state,
oh, yeah, sorry,
state of North
Dakota,
Dakota, and that I will faithfully discharge the duties of the office of Ward 1 council member
Ward 2 council member.
according to the best of my abilities.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Under
Pains and penalties of perjury.
Almost hit sign.
We do have a notary in the office. I'm not a notary yet, but I mean, I'd like you to get them signed as soon as possible. So if you can make time to come in, that'd be great. We can put them in your files, but taking that oath tonight here is amazing. We'll have you sit down with us.
You should just let Aiden sign his and leave it here. He can't come back. Some other time getting along. I don't know.
So, yeah.
I don't know.
I'll try it out.
Try not to swiftly elbow you. Swiftly elbow you.
Okay, at this time, we need to reorganize the council. We need to vote on a council president, vice president, and also committees for the council. Let's see, Twyla, I believe, is president right now. I'm not sure who's vice president.
I don't think we have one.
I don't think we had one,
We
Chuck.
don't have one. Couldn't afford one.
I'll make a motion to appoint Twyla as the council president, or to keep her as the council president.
We have a motion for Twyla to be council president. Do we have a second?
I'll second it.
We have a second by Steve. Voice vote, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, it passes. Vice president. Do we have anybody interested in the job, or?
I make a motion for Steve Fennewald to be the vice president.
I'll second.
We have a motion for Steve to be vice president. Fennewald. A motion by Twyla and seconded by Jenny. There again, voice vote, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Hearing none, motion passes. Committees, I have a list of different committees. I know, Anita, you have one also?
Well, I kind of went off the reorganization that occurred at the last election, our regular election last summer. You guys, as a board, did a personnel, public works, police, and finance that overseen those duties based off here in the city. So depending on if you'd like to keep it that kind of oversight route.
I do want to go along with the advice of our attorney, Mr. Schultz, regarding having committees rather than commissioners. It spreads the load out a little and gives more chance for more people to speak on things. I have on my committees, I have like finance, legal, and personnel committee. I have myself, Jenny Johns, Attorney Schultz, Twyla Ganser, and probably Anita for record keeping. Police and fire, I have Ray Volk from town here, retired fire chief, and then also the current fire chief. I haven't had a chance to visit with him. I talked to Seth, the assistant fire chief, and he volunteered anybody but him. So we would have a possibility there. We have an ordinance review committee. Our ordinances are discombobulated. But I have Kim and Laura Volk, Kim Shaw and Laura Volk on that. I don't know if anybody else wants to get involved with it.
So there was a motion to appoint an ordinance committee, and then you were going to do that. So
Yeah.
you're telling me now that your ordinance committee is going to be Kim,
I'm looking for that and volunteers.
and Laura Volk?
Yeah.
And anybody else that would like to volunteer?
Right.
Did we set that up, Anita, so the mayor, I don't think it was a motion, was it, that the mayor was set up?
It was a motion to approve the ordinance committee that
To
would
appoint.
exist, and then he would appoint the
Yeah.
members, right?
Public Works Committee, I've got Brent, Garrett Grubb, and Mike Peltier. They're all familiar with the equipment that the Public Works has, and I don't know anybody else that wants to be on that.
So I guess, would you guys as a board like to see committees versus oversight as a chair in the position you hold? I mean, would you like to see committees like the mayor is talking, or actually have that position held?
Instead of chair.
He's talking about a commissioner rather than a
commissioner
committee.
Right. Would
Yeah.
you
But
rather have a
Andrew's
committee?
recommendation was to have committees rather than
Committees, yes.
commissioners.
I want to be clear, my discussion of committees was about giving the public a chance to weigh in that kind of setting, rather than taking up time during a full council meeting. It wasn't necessarily to govern city departments by committee, it was to review ordinance changes and that kind of thing. So I think there may be a slight
That's-
misunderstanding.
I guess that's pretty
Okay.
much the way I understood it also. Beautification Committee. I have myself, Jenny Johns, my wife Connie, there again, Laura Volk. I don't know if anybody else wants to volunteer to be on the,
Can I ask when that
Beautification
committee was
Committee.
created?
pardon?
When that committee was created? The beautification committee?
Okay.
When was it created?
I don't believe it is.
It
I
kind
Oh,
of,
that's what you're looking to get.
yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
sorry.
Yeah,
My
it doesn't-
apologies.
So again, as a board, I don't want to write down all these notes of committees as if the board just wants to go ahead and say, we need to designate board members to oversee the positions here on reorganization. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yes, I guess the thought with the committees that we can get council persons plus people from the city, residents, to be on the committees and kind of spread things out and get a little better advice on some different actions. But these are just my thoughts on it. I don't know if we need to have those established tonight, or if we need to wait and see if anybody else is interested in being on any of the committees.
Seems like we don't get it done.
Well, it has to be one of us on there, any committee anyway, correct? It can't be.
Yeah.
But it's whether it's a committee or just you as a commissioner are in charge of the police department. Do you want Ray and the other Derek or whatever, Kurt, on it as well? Or you just want to have the commissioners as it's been?
So if we were a city commission, then definitely we would want to continue what has been going on, but we are indeed a city council as recognized by the state. So this committee is the only way that it should be set up. And Twyla's right, you need one council person. The mayor oversees all committees, and then normally an employee of some sort, and then a community member.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but didn't we not appoint a ordinance committee already?
No,
Yes, we did.
no, that was this, people on the ordinance committee actually, some of them don't exist anymore. So you guys
I don't think
voted to
that's
have an
true.
ordinance committee.
And who was on it that doesn't exist anymore?
The mayor was to elect those positions
Appoint.
or appoint those positions. Yep, sorry.
Yeah, and he did, but
Originally, at one time, Elaine and Tara were going to, along with Diane, we're going to go through the books and try to reorganize the ordinances. But Elaine is not on the board. Tara is not available, I don't believe, and Diana's gone.
Okay.
So we'll appoint some new people on there. I know Kim Shaw is well-versed in the ordinances and has been able to find a lot of things that were gone. So does anyone, we'll start back at the top again. Does anybody want to be on the Finance, Legal, and Personnel Committee? There again, I have.
But are we doing committees? Or are we just
We're
doing
doing committees.
commissioners?
We're doing committees.
Is it a vote? Or, I guess I myself personally don't want to see 3 people on the committee as far as talking, whether it's the police department or to the maintenance personnel. I mean, sometimes it's hard enough to deal with them one-on-one, or they think they have too many bosses with the 7 of us sitting up here. Now, all of a sudden, they have another 2 extra bosses that have no say really in what they actually are gonna do.
And anybody on committees would have to be subject to our payroll as well.
Yep, and that's in the ordinance, $10 per meeting for all committee members.
Yep.
The mayor would oversee all of the committees. So let's say there is something that happens in the Public Works Department and AJ needs to call, or John needs to call a meeting to get advice or permission to do something. The committee would meet, and then the representative, which would be the mayor, would bring it to the board, unless they nominate somebody with amongst themselves to be the spokesperson.
So now, just over a year ago, you guys voted and decided who else would be the commissioner, right?
Correct. Yeah.
You know, 2 people are still not commissioners, and you're doubled up, tripled up. We need to have it fair so everybody is involved. Sitting up here,
I agree, 100%.
what happened last year, wasn't
It wasn't the last year. I'm not going back in time.
Well, I kind of agree with Steve. I hate to have like 4 people to discuss one broken toilet issue. I mean, it kind of seems redundant. I think as commissioners, we should be able to handle, like we did with the last time we reorganized.
I mean, if
The
it's an
last time
issue
we
that you don't
created
think you
it.
can deal with, then bring it up to the council meeting or whatever, but it's not rocket science.
So do you guys want to move forward with appointing positions?
Well, maybe we
it?
should,
Is it in the century code that a city council is supposed to have a committee or a commissioner, or is it either or?
well, in the form of government that we have with the city council and the mayor, you're supposed to have committees.
Well, you can have the committees, but I mean, if you want to have a meeting every month with, let's just say, Brent, you're in charge of the maintenance and you talk to AJ on whether it's a weekly, monthly, whatever you do. And then if you want to have a meeting between you and your 2 other people that are on this, go ahead and do so. If you don't think you want to have a meeting, then don't.
Yeah, right.
I mean, you're in charge of it.
I guess my point was, what is the law say? Are we supposed to do one or the other, or is it either or?
We have had commissioners for forever, so I don't think it's against the law.
We've done a lot of things in our taxes.
There's been numerous attorneys that have been sitting on our board or out there that we've never had to change it to do committees. The commissioner thing works.
It doesn't matter to me as long as it's reading correct.
I could not find anything on century code or ordinance that would state there is such a thing as a personnel commissioner, a public works commissioner, a police commissioner. Those are just things that cities do to oversee the employment and what's happening
On a day-to-day or
on a-
month-to-month
on a-
basis.
on a regular basis.
Correct.
And that's what I seen, or Kim helped me look in as well in the ordinance and in codes, and we didn't find anything that says bam, 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 these things have to happen. But yes, you can have committees, of course. But do you also want to have that oversight then assigned as a board member?
Let's vote on it.
Committees or commissioners?
Yeah.
Can't sit here all night.
But Jenny says we're not commissioners. We're really
No,
council
and
members.
I don't know which code you guys looked up, but a city commission, if you looked under that century code, it would list the fire and the police commissioner, the finance commissioner, the water and sewer commissioner, and I think that's it. There's 4 of them.
The cities that have commissioners don't have a council.
Right.
They
It's a
have the
commission.
commissioners that run the city, where we have a council.
Well, you don't have to call it commissioner. I guess you could call it personnel, whatever. I mean, it's
director
just somebody that is
Yeah.
a liaison, if you, so to speak, between
Between,
A
the
go-to.
departments.
right.
Instead of having 3 or 4 people breathing down AJ's neck, he only has 1.
Well, I make a motion that that's the way we should do it. Each council member should oversee a entity or whatever you want to call it.
That's the way it is. You
department.
don't need a motion. That's the way we're doing it now.
That you would want to remain to do it that
He
way.
just wanted to know if we wanted to vote on it, and that's how we wanted to do it.
We have a motion on the floor to have.
I made a motion.
So you get a motion. Yep.
We have a motion on the floor to have commissioners rather
No.
than the committees. Do we have a second?
Well,
that's
we're
not
not
it. We have
commissioners.
a
We're not
motion
commissioners. We're council members.
To have a member oversight for each department for actions of the city.
But we already
So
have
we
that.
Yeah. To continue with the,
Well, that's the motion you have.
Yeah.
Yep.
to continue with
Not
the
commissioners.
current
Yes,
commissioners
currently the way we're doing it.
instead of the committee. We have a motion. Do we have a second? We have a motion by Twyla. Do we have a second? Hearing none.
I'll second that. Trying to figure out how this works.
Say what?
It's on. Just pull it closer to your mouth.
I'll second that motion.
We have a second. Okay.
Discussion.
Discussion, yes.
So what we're gonna do next, if this passes, then we're gonna basically vote on where we're going to.
Appoint commissioners,
Yes.
just like we would have anyway.
Or appoint a council member. to-
Right.
Yeah, be over public works or be over
Okay.
the office.
We have a motion. Further discussion.
I know one thing, there should be no doubling up and stuff, and everybody should get a fair shot at something up there. Everyone at the table.
Okay. Any further discussion?
Can you read the motion as written?
I have Ms. Ganser moves that each member oversees department actions for the city. Or that, so Ms. Ganser moves,
Each council.
yeah, to have member oversight for departments' actions of the city.
Should be something there, shouldn't it be appointed?
Okay, we'll have a roll call
Appointed
vote.
member oversight, okay, perfect.
Okay. Ms. Ganser,
Yes,
Mr. Clark,
Yes.
Mr. Dickinson,
No.
That's what you asked for. That's what you asked for.
I thought we wanted the committees.
Ms. Johns,
No.
Mr. Fennel,
Yes.
what's what you asked?
Ms. Wheeler,
Steve don't know.
Yes.
say again, please.
Yes.
Yes.
Steve, did you vote no?
No, I voted yes.
So the vote is 4-2. Motion passes. We're going to stick with commissioners.
Council members.
Well, it's council members. The motion
Council
was to
members
keep
will be
appointed member
commissioners.
oversight for department actions of the city.
Okay.
But now we have to appoint them.
Yes.
Correct.
So we have Finance, Legal, and Personnel Commissioner. Who wants it?
Personnel and then all combined. That's the way it looks.
What did
That's
you
what
do?
I have on my list. I don't know that it necessarily has to be combined.
What's combined?
What did you do?
What we did at the last election was personnel, public works, police, and finance.
Public Works is in the finance.
No, they're all separate.
They're each separate.
They're all separate. So finance, legal, personnel, public works,
I
and
work at
police.
Mortgage Company.
Yes.
Can you just read off one and then someone will make a
Okay.
motion?
He said finance.
Finance?
Mm.
Make a motion for Steve. The Commissioner of Finance. He's vague.
I'll second that.
Okay, Steve by Brent and Twyla. All in favor? Oops, we better do some discussion. Any discussion? Hearing none. Brent,
Yes.
Twyla,
Yes.
Aiden,
Yes.
Jennifer,
Yes.
I can't remember, Miss Wheeler. And Steve. Hell no.
Well. Yeah, I'll do it.
Yeah, motion carries. What other do they have? Public Works.
I guess just for the only two that I have actually interest in and that could help would be either just Public Works or Police Commissioner. I have no interest in the rest. One of the two, whatever.
Aiden, what do you do for a living? I don't know you.
Been a mechanic, truck driver. I work for Gravel Products right now, so basically anything and everything Public Works does.
I'll make a motion to appoint Aiden and Twyla as the Public Works,
Who is that?
whatever we're calling them.
Aiden
Twyla.
and Twyla.
I second.
Any discussion? All in favor, let's see, Jenny,
Yes.
Brent,
Yes.
Twyla,
Yes.
Aiden,
Yes.
Steve,
Yes.
Miss Wheeler.
Yes.
Motion passes. What do we got next?
How about the police?
What's that?
How about your police
Police Commissioner.
board member?
I would volunteer for that one.
Say again, please.
I said, I'll make a motion to appoint Brent Dickinson and myself as the police.
Brent and yourself.
I'll second.
Motion by Ms. Johns, seconded by Mr. Dickinson. Any further discussion? Hearing none. Brent,
Yes.
Jenny,
Yes.
Twyla,
Yes.
Aiden,
Yes.
Steve,
Yeah.
Miss Wheeler.
Yes.
Pass. Next one. Personnel.
I'll make a motion to appoint Tiffany Wheeler as the personnel correspondent or whatever we're calling it.
Say again, please.
Tiffany Wheeler to be the personnel oversight.
I'll second.
Motion by Jenny, seconded by Brent. Any further discussion? Hearing none. Jennifer,
Yes.
Brent,
Yes.
Tiffany,
Yes.
Steve,
Yes.
Twyla,
Yes.
Aiden.
Yes.
Motion passed.
Do we need a legal one, you said earlier?
No, I've never
I
heard
don't
of
remember.
that.
Well, he mentioned it. That's what I was asking.
Are there any other positions that you would know of as an auditor, Jenny, that would exist for duties of the board?
I mean, I know of a bunch of committees that should be set up, like Economic Development Committee, Sales Tax Committee, to govern where the sales tax dollars go.
Right.
The
How about,
Ordinance
like,
Committee.
street? Is that Public Works? Is that
Mhm.
street
Mhm.
as well? Okay.
We still gotta do president, vice president, right?
No, that's
Who
good.
did that?
How about, Special Assessment Committee? I know Stacy Horn was on that before and someone else. I don't remember who that was.
Well, does everybody feel they have a fair board with their assignment sitting here?
Who was the president, vice president? I thought since we redid this, we were going to, that would be kind of started over, I guess, but whatever.
We did make. a
It would be,
motion.
Twyla was moved as president and passed, and
Steve.
then, Steve for vice president and passed.
Okay, any further committees?
I mean, did you want to,
Did you want to finish at least that ordinance one you talked about, Kim, Laura? Do you want to assign actually a board member to oversee that with those two? Then you would have a full ordinance committee. They could get started at least on some of that.
I think Jenny should follow. She's good at ordinances.
I think if we're not doing committees, I mean, the mayor can appoint committees as long as people are willing. So as needed, we can just do that. I mean, unless there's an ordinance right now that needs
I
looking
think we
into.
should have some
There
of them.
was chapters 1, 2, and 3 revised. They're pending approval by our ordinance committee. And that will sit pending until somebody actually looks at it.
I think that, Chuck, can you do that like this week yet? And then hopefully have that for the next meeting, so that's went over.
Yeah, I'd like to know who's gonna be on it.
We can never leave you out.
I'm not asking to be on it. I just would like to know who's gonna be on it.
Then you just call me and I'll let you.
Ordinance committee. You want to address AJ? He's had his hand up forever. He probably has a comment on the whole.
Can I make a recommendation that if you are gonna do like beautiful? Microphone. Oh, you're killing me, Smalls. My recommendation is if you're gonna be making committees, like beautification committee, ordinance committee, whatever, try to get equal representation from Ward 1 and Ward 2. Because I noticed like when you were trying to do the public works, you had 3 people that were 1,000 yards apart instead of different parts of the city. I think you'd get a lot more done. Just food for thought.
The people I brought up were all mechanics.
And they all live
I
right
don't-
close
I
by
don't
each
know any
other.
mechanics over there.
But even for the beautification, I think you should have equal number of people from both sides if you can get it, if at all possible.
Well, I think the problem there was, he was the one that volunteered, no one else did.
And I can't hear you sitting right here.
I'll start yelling.
Use the microphone.
I don't know if we're having
Nope, the other way.
mic issues again or what.
Okay.
All the way up. You got it. Nope, the other way. Up towards you.
All right, moving on, the minutes from the July regular meeting, special meeting, joint canvassing meeting. Has everyone had a chance to look through the minutes? And does anyone have any questions? I guess I had one regarding the, Anita, the building permits. Do we actually collect the money for the permits, or does Ward County collect it and then, or do we collect it and then send them the money? Or what happens to it?
Is that in minutes? Or is that just a general question?
It's just a general question.
Okay. Finish your minutes and then ask me that question again, okay?
Yes, dear.
Okay.
Let's see, anybody, any questions? I guess that was in the,
Again, yes, and I try the best I can with these minutes. If you guys need revisions or changes, please point them out.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes from July 6th and July 13th
I second.
and July 26th.
and who's second?
I did.
Brent? Mr. Schultz?
I'm part of the canvassing board required by statute, so I have to be listed as present for the July 26 minutes.
Oh, I need to add you. Good catch.
Any further comment or questions? Voice vote, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passed. Financial reports. Now I ask my question.
Yes, you can. Go ahead. Okay. about the building permits.
Yes,
When a building permit comes in, it goes to the county for their review. The county representative inspector comes here and works with us on the totals for the permit cost. Okay, so we collect that money.
okay,
A part of that goes to the county when they bill us.
Right.
And then we keep our city portion that we charge for.
okay.
permit,
That
okay?
was my question.
Yep.
Any other questions on the financial reports?
On the circle sanitation bill, it has RV dumpster and Southwest Park dumpster. Is that just a,
It's a seasonal thing that was, I guess, added. Feeling that the garbage contract is city purpose. That's just something that was added. If you feel that, that should be paid by the park, that's, I guess, something we can talk about. I just know that they had garbage all over at the park, the new park, their playground. And so it was suggested that we just get a small, their smallest size dumpster over there to take care of that garbage flying all over.
And that's the RV dumpster here for $74.
The RV one is actually out at the RV site. No, the 40, what is it, $48 for a 1 yard?
Is that every time they dump it, or is it monthly?
No,
or
that's a month. yeah.
month? Because I
And
don't,
that'll only be through the summer. We'll call them in the fall and have it.
I don't know that they've dumped it yet at all, so.
They have, actually, the 4th of July, we came back and there was concrete in there.
Yeah,
So John had to go and remove the concrete before they would dump it. So please don't put no concrete in our dumpsters.
Did we get a bill from Ward County for the election?
That one has not came in yet. As you will see though, I did have your revisions on here from, a couple bills came in extra today. So, yes, your revised bills include, Rath and Meyer's audit. If you'll make notation to that. So that's a piece of that. And with that, I was kind of going over things. They are pretty much saying that we are legit for 2019 and 2020 books. However, the board did not amend the budget during the years and added the COVID-19 fund and the Prairie Dog Fund. And also that they have deficiencies listed here. City does not have a large enough staff to properly segregate all the duties. They feel that lack of segregation of duties leads to limited degree of internal controls. Their recommendation is that management of the governing board be aware of the lack of segregation of duties and implement controls whenever possible to mitigate that risk. That's stuff that I've seen out of that. If you guys want to look at the audit report, it is available. That just came in today.
So that was $9,000
For 2 years.
for 2 years.
And it does seem like a lot, but 2018 actually was over 5,000 itself when I looked at it. So it was under the norm.
So when they left, our books weren't done correct, and they still said everything looks good.
Well, they said that our processes are legit.
I'll make a motion to approve the financial reports, payroll, and claims to be paid.
we have a motion by Councilman Johns. Do we have a second?
I'll second it.
We have a second by Ms. Ganser. Any further discussion? Hearing none. Voice vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, motion passes. The preliminary budget is next.
My opinion, we should table that.
Can't,
What do you mean can't?
it has to be published by August 10th to the county auditor.
You know, this meeting is supposed to happen at 6 o'clock tonight.
Okay, I can't change what the county requires. So whether we do it tonight or have a special meeting before the 10th of August, we have to have it done.
The final has to be in by August 10th?
No, the preliminary has to be published and to the county auditor by August 10th. And this is just a preliminary. We have 2 more months to get in a final budget. This just sets it in place so that we have something to work with.
I did talk to Kevin Howe after this came out, and he has a couple additions that need to be added. Basically, his final number, and I'm looking at account number 4210 on the second page of expenditures. Oh, it would be page 6, it looks like. So his final amount requested is
The police department, yep, the police section of, on page 6.
Is it the stuff that we had from the last time?
No, this is brand new. Actually, it's new because this piece from the last meeting went to a 6-month where that column wasn't added. This is a brand new set showing to date. So you have better figures, you have better totals. Knowing where you're at, after 6 months into the year.
Okay, sorry. So, under the police department, that final number will be 246,312, just because training was missed and then Spartan ammo was missed at 3,000 and 5,000. And then he wanted an extra 1,000 for office supplies. So it's an addition of $9,000.
So instead of 237, 312, it's
246,312.
On page 6.
Yes.
Nice.
I guess I'm going to tend to agree with Brent, I guess, just in looking at it. I know it has to be in by August 10th, but I mean, you have a third of this board that literally just looked at this tonight as far as the preliminary budget.
we're into the meeting 45 minutes. Yeah.
And I mean, I guess to be honest, as looking back when I started doing this or whatever years ago, you really don't know what you're really doing unless I hate to say it, you need to go line by line and explain exactly what all these things are so they know exactly what they're voting upon. I mean, I don't want to do it either because it's time consuming, but
Okay. Do you guys want to
That's-
have a different night then for a budget hearing before the 10th? Okay. What works?
Anytime after 5:45 or after.
We
For
need
you.
a, we
What
need a
works for
motion to
everyone else?
table.
That's just for my.
I mean, do you want to do it a week from today?
That's fine.
Can you speak up, please?
I won't be available next Monday. I can do it any day this week though, after 5:30.
I'm good early this week, not late.
Does it have to be at night? Can anybody take off a couple hours of the day or no? No?
So it has to be a public meeting.
Correct.
I could do it like Friday afternoon, probably 3:00.
I would do a Friday at 3.
I can,
I think I'd be available.
like this Friday?
It'd be this Friday.
I have to be home by 2:00. That'll take me a half hour and then I can be here.
That'd be the 7th.
6. Can you make that, Jenny?
Friday at 3 o'clock?
Yeah, I mean, I think at least if you go through some of the lines so people kind of understand a little bit, an overall, you know what I mean? Because it's very confusing to try to,
I completely agree with that. Yep,
Okay,
3
that
o'clock.
sounds great. Let's do it.
We need a motion to do that, table it and move it till Friday.
I don't think you need a motion. to
I don't think
table.
so.
Okay,
Just an agreement, right?
Yeah, you don't need a motion to table.
No, all members agreed.
all right. Police report, engineers report.
Good evening. I've only got one thing this evening. I got two bids, one from Geffro Electric and one from Burlington Electric for putting lighting in the garage for the police department. Over the years, I want to thank AJ and John. They've been replacing the bulbs pretty regularly. I don't think they meet code on one of them. That's hooked up in the garage, so we decided to get bids to meet code and have proper lighting in the garage. We got one bid from Geffro Electric for $2,808 and one bid from Burlington Electric for $1,386. And that's the two bids that were received on garage lighting.
You're talking lighting inside the garage?
Yeah, putting the LED lights in the ceiling. Right now, they have one bulb that's plugged in with an extension cord that's on 24/7 that keeps burning everything out. And I'm sure that's not up to code. And when you go into the file cabinets or up above where we store everything in the old files, you got to take a flashlight with you to read it. So I think enough years have went by, we've got to do something with the garage. The one bid from Geffro Electric was $2,808 and from Burlington Electric was $1,386. And if you want to leave it till the end of the year to see what the end of the year money is, we've went this long with it. I just wanted to bring it to the council's attention.
My opinion, it should get fixed before winter.
I would agree.
I agree.
Whatever the council agrees.
I'll make a motion to spend $1,300 with Burlington Electric to put LED lights in the
I'll
police
second it.
garage. I thought it was 13 something, wasn't it?
1386.
1386.
I'll second it.
Anything else?
And you're getting all the lighting, both the bids, just $1,000 difference.
Correct. And you can pass that down and show everybody the bids. Other than that, I don't have anything other than the budget stuff for Friday evening at this point.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
There's a motion on the floor.
We have a motion and a second to hire Burlington Electric for $1,400 thereabouts, 18 or 1386. Motion by Steve, second by Twyla. Any discussion? The Burlington proposal is install 3 8-foot lights in the center area of the garage. And the Geffro Electric is to put 4 lights in the bay area and 2 in the loft area.
So are we not gonna get the lighting, Kevin, with the cheaper bid, because you don't have your lights up where your file cabinets are?
No, I think the file cabinets are along the north wall with LED lights.
So the Burlington bid is for approximately half as much work for,
Yeah, they
half
really
as
aren't
much
apples
money.
to apples. The bids aren't.
Yeah, I
They're
guess
not-
you replaced him, John. You have a
same.
question on it, or?
Actually was walking through the guy, with the guys getting the bids. I know both of them that we need lights for the cars parked, and then he has a file cabinet on the north wall, that needs a light. And then furnace upstairs, as well as other files. And what they gave you, they said will work for all of that. So. Burlington says it'll work.
we have a motion to accept the Burlington Electric bid and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, motion passes. We have an engineer report.
I don't know that I've heard anything from the engineers. I've put it on there just because I know that the sidewalk project's still underway.
Yeah, they haven't been out there for a while.
Actually, we kind of do. So I got an email at 5 o'clock tonight over this sidewalk project. And it came from AE2S, and they've run into some issues with drainage from the four-way stop sign by Ray Volk. And Strata's bid to fix the drainage issue is almost 30,000. We're waiting on DOT approval because there's like a 60-40 split. So if DOT approves this, the city's funding for this to fix it to where the culverts hopefully won't fill with mud and will actually drain the best they can, because there's only like 1/10 of an inch between point A and point B. The city cost would be approximately $65.50. And Jason Strand called me tonight after he received this email, and we kind of kicked around the idea of taking the ditch work and maybe getting with Kelsey and see if he might be interested in doing it and if he could do it cheaper than Strata, which I'm sure he could. And then to finish the sidewalk, my understanding is we're waiting on SRT to move a pole out of the way. But they're still trying to get everything hooked up to fiber so they can move the pole.
And this is like to the east of Rays? Or just after-
Northwest,
Joe Arbor,
Yeah.
northwest corner.
Where's
right
that at?
behind Barry's, block behind.
Bolts, right on the corner.
I don't know who.
Well, what's
next
the
house
water
is.
do?
Either's right
I
across
mean,
from him.
I don't think we've had any rain since the sidewalk's been in. How do they know where it's draining and 30
Because
some
we went
thousand
and found
dollars?
the culverts and dug the culverts out on Heidi and Chad's corner. The culvert was about 18 inches buried. There was just a little tiny pinhole that water was running out of their yard. We went and hand dug the culvert out. We hand dug the south side on Ray's corner, and we spent probably 2 hours or more running the jetter through that culvert, getting it just as clean as we could. And then we did the same on the west side of that intersection, and there is no fall at all. The culverts were completely full of mud and silt.
Isn't that all filled in and pretty much flat?
That's why it was,
Drain anyway.
that's why it was brought up about ditching from that west side of that intersection down to the first house.
I mean, you could ditch the whole town.
It needs done.
Well, but I mean, it's not gonna happen. I mean, the pavement got laid as the pavement got laid. I mean,
Who did the surveying? Like, I mean, why wasn't this caught before it was done?
Well,
I
that's
don't
my,
know who did the survey.
I don't know that this
that's
should
my
even be our
question. We've got
responsibility.
engineers running all over the place and they didn't know there was a culvert there. They didn't know this, that. Personally, I don't see it's our problem. They bid the job to do it and they should do it and eat the cost. If I build a kitchen and I miss something in the bid, I still have to complete the job. I just don't see where,
I guess it wouldn't hurt to get, I agree totally. I guess I would ask that, see if you could get Kelsey to give a bid or see what his proposal is.
Jason was gonna call and see if later this week we could set up a meeting with me, John, Kelsey, and Jason to look at it and actually go over what needs done.
Because there's no place for the water to run in.
Exactly.
No, and there's gotta be they gotta have a contingency fund on that thing, don't they?
That I don't know.
I mean, and there's gotta be I
They're
mean,
bonded and everything.
But my thought is if we end up doing this, that whatever our cost is, could that come out of prairie dog funds? Because that's city improvements.
I just don't think it's our responsibility
Neither
at
do
all.
I.
I see a different issue along, I think you're gonna have a heck of a time along Pleasant Avenue trying to plow snow with the, I mean, the sidewalk drops down, what, 1.5 feet
And we
easily?
even had it raised.
So I'm just wondering who did the survey work, like, whose plans are these?
AE2S, and I don't know when they come out and engineered it all. If it was, I don't think it's been since I've been here.
I mean, I can't imagine you guys trying to clean that sidewalk with it down 1.5 feet. Yeah, it's right before the
It
tracks.
should be level with the road.
Or higher, yep.
Down and then the railroad tracks are up here.
well, this is how it works, is the government has all kinds of grant money available for a nice little sidewalk project that everybody thinks is great, this is what we need, until it comes down to paying for it. And then all of a sudden, there's always extra money it happens in every project. Nothing is free. I mean,
But-
the engineers do their plans, it's never good.
Should have found that there's culverts.
I 100% agree. There's always an issue. Something always comes up. You pave and 3 years later, the road's cracked.
And something else that was brought up is waiting on the DOT approval. Jason suggested maybe trying to set, obviously, we can't set a specific date to bring this back to you guys, but just put in the back of your mind that if the DOT approves and wants to go ahead and do this, that we're gonna have to call a special meeting to come in and vote on this or do whatever. And I said, all this came to my desk at 5 o'clock tonight, so
Well, I agree with Chuck. I don't think we do anything.
Same.
Okay,
Just move on to the next thing on your list.
thank you.
okay.
Personal appearances by Lisa Hartlieb. Yep, you gotta walk up in front of everybody.
My name is Lisa Hartlieb. My husband-
Talk to the microphone, please.
All right, my name is Lisa Hartlieb. We live in Surrey, have for 10 years. We just purchased some property and I had sent in an email to you all the parcel number, the parcel ID. And do you want me to give that to you again or explain to you where it's at? No, you're good. Oh, you do, you have it all. Okay, so my questions, I have 4 questions. What needs to be done to get sewer and water to the property? We would prefer to not do septic. And being that it's in city limits, my understanding is that we have to have the opportunity to have sewer and water. And so I'm just curious what we're looking at in that aspect.
Where is this at?
It's right beside Burns property. It's on, Burns is.
To the north
111
of Burns, right across the street from the RV park, basically.
Yes. 111th, I believe is what it is.
Over where the Quonset is there?
Yes, yes, that's it. And so we are looking at building, and I think you can kind of see it's tentative planning. We're not exactly sure on a date that we're going to build. We're just kind of wanting to figure out what we need to do to get water and sewer ran into that property, as there is nothing up to.
So the water does run right along the RV park in
Okay.
that ditch. So boring under the road to hook up to that is, I would assume, your only option for that.
Okay.
AJ, would it be smart to have them have the curb stop possibly on the side of the RV park? Just in case something were to happen? Well, it's just something to think about. Obviously, they're not digging tomorrow.
Right.
And then sewer, there is that lift station that went in the RV park. So,
I don't think that's really a lift station though, unfortunately.
well, since it's up and available to them,
We got to figure this out, people.
mhm.
It's not, I mean, it's,
This was wasn't this addressed, that property from someone else about water and sewer a couple years ago?
Yeah, they did come. Yes, someone else. We purchased it from them. They came to you guys and asked for a variance to put a septic tank.
Yeah,
We
they
don't want a
wanted a
septic
septic.
tank. You approved a septic. You approved the variance for a septic. With the lift station, my understanding is it maybe isn't as big of a lift station as we may need. And I'm wondering, are we going to run into problems as homeowners if that's the case? So just kind of, like I said, we're not building tomorrow. But I would like to throw it out there because when we do want to build, I do want to have this figured out. And cost wise, I would like to know, a general idea.
What is the ordinance in this case? Do we gotta get the water across the road to them or not? I don't know what the ordinance is on.
To get the
Yeah,
water
they would
across
just-
the road.
yeah. It's all their expense or whatever as far as it. We have to figure out, I mean,
Provide a main, do we not?
the water is water, but I mean, we have to figure out, I think we need the engineers.
We did something on that sewer, didn't we get the specs and everything, but I don't remember what it was.
It's basically a holding tank is the way I understand it to be. Yep.
Wasn't it put in differently than original?
Correct. It's not a lift station at all. It's a holding tank. And then ever so often it pumps it over.
Yeah, it's got a grinder pump, I think.
Yep.
it's called. Yeah.
So it's a grinder pump versus a lift station?
Yep.
So basically yours would do the same thing. You go from a holding tank, probably recommend to have some kind of grinder pump, and then it goes to the lift station.
But that's not a lift station at the
I
park.
know.
Yeah, I don't know, I think we
And
need
then
to get
unless
the
you had the-
engineer involved or.
Unless you
See
had
what
the
to do.
park's permission, I mean, I'm assuming that you'd have to bore under all that to get to that lift station too,
Mhm.
or apply for the variance for the septic. I mean, that's just what I think.
Hadn't we approved a septic out there?
They don't want a septic.
Oh, okay.
Was it before? I'm not 100% sure if it was or not, but I just know that that's what they wanted. We would prefer not to have a septic if
Mhm.
possible. We'd like to be on city, and my understanding is that particular property is in city limits. It is, and so somehow we have to be offered that. Now, fees, we'll look at that. I'm sure that it is going to be a fee for us. But where does that stop? Where is our fee? And then is it at the main?
So does the city pay nothing? They move in there and they want
Yeah,
water and
just
sewer, they
in
have to
there.
hook up to our stuff and then that's the way it is.
We need to have stuff there, right?
So that's the other thing. Tiffany just reminded me, there is like is it $1,000 connection fee for each sewer and water? Is that what it is?
It's something like
To
that.
tap the main?
Yeah, and then you have to tap the main and run it in yourself.
Right. But it's the connection. I think she's asking for total fees, so that would apply here.
It would, but we have to have the main to them, right? That's the concern.
But the main is right across the
Well, the water's
road.
there.
The water's right
water's
there.
there.
Yep.
It's sewer then
No
that we're
sewer main?
concerned.
Isn't the water up by Ronnie Burns going in? I mean, it's a block away.
I don't know if Ronnie has city water.
Yeah, Ron's a block away, but it'd be closer to, I do believe, coming in by the RV press for the water.
Yeah, the RV park's got water, yeah.
Mhm. I mean, the water I don't think is an issue, but I think we have to have the engineers come and explain the whole lift station, holding tank. Yeah.
Seems to me we got all the paperwork on it, but I don't, the
Well,
office, I don't know.
Is
the
that?
problem is in the park, it's not a lift station. I
Right.
mean, the lift station is a half mile, not half mile, but it's way down the road. I mean,
See, the original reason we put that. where they put that RV dump was just west of the ball diamond, the main building there.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe you remember where it was.
Mm-hmm.
Then we kind of went around and around on that, and then it got pushed over and put in an RV park where it should be.
Mm-hmm.
So then, in the meantime, they had to put a grinder pump in there to make it flow over to the sewer, I believe, ends where it was put in, west of the building there. So that's why that grinder pump was put in to shove it over.
It's a dead end manhole. Okay. And it's a dead end manhole.
Yeah. So then they put, and then Wade Mueller got put on.
Mm-hmm.
See, Wade Mueller never should have got put on it.
Right.
That
Right.
was the problem.
Right.
Because
Right.
it's not designed for
It's not
public.
residential.
That wasn't what it was originally.
Right.
It was intended for the RV dump.
Sure. So if it's not intended for it's not intended for the public, so it would not be intended for us. Wade Mueller's on it. Putting us on it it'd be too much for it. We'd have issues, I'm sure.
Possible.
We don't know that. I believe that it would take more.
I don't know. I mean, I'm not an engineer. I have no idea.
No, but we had all it brought to us, but I don't remember it happening.
So if it would be too much for it, what other option would they have? The city would have to get a main over there?
No. We would give them the septic option.
So do you guys want me to reach out to the engineer to see if they can tell,
Yeah, I guess we would need information as far as what that,
the details of what was installed at that?
what it's
point, how much-
designed to do.
How much load it can take?
Yeah, I mean,
I don't think the engineer was involved.
that's part of the problem.
But Kelsey brought
But
us
he came
all
and
the
looked
information,
at it.
and that should be in the office, I would think.
I'm not, I want, if, we need to speak to our engineer as far as what that thing is there. I mean, we don't know.
I'm not sure if that's our responsibility to figure that out, though, is it?
Well, if they're asking us to put
It
something in
is
for
at
them,
least
Yeah.
that.
I mean, unless you just want to tell them flat out, no.
And you have one resident on it, you can't say no to others, right?
Well, yes, you can. If it was done,
Yeah.
if it was done improperly the first time, yes, you can. I mean, just because it's already been done doesn't mean you just continually make the mistake bigger and bigger and bigger.
But my understanding is that there is an ordinance that if that property is within city limits, so we are to be offered city sewer. That's my understanding. I don't know the ordinance number. I don't, but my understanding is that there's that ordinance out there.
I get that, but I mean, I would be in an understanding that if you have to hook into to an actual lift station,
Mhm.
I don't know what that cost to you is going to be. It's not going to be
Sure.
$1,500. It might be $40,000. I have no idea.
Unfortunately, what that ordinance means is that our infrastructure is basically set in stone right now, and unless
Mhm.
we were to extend that,
Mhm.
the closest point on Fourth to connect would be back by the ball diamonds, and then the closest point on Third would be like right at the end, right by that corner, which is where the Burnses
Okay.
are hooked into,
Okay.
unfortunately.
Yeah.
I guess what I think, then you can have the engineer or whoever figure out what that tank and the setup that we have, if it will hold another person, handle another person or not, or what the scenario is.
I would agree. I think we'd have to have an engineer. They would have to go out there and see what we put in.
Doesn't it go by the size of the home?
By what?
The size
Yeah.
of the home,
Size of the home, number of residents.
the number of
Do
people?
you remember what the deal was, AG? Maybe you do, I don't.
Not totally. I know there's only one grinder pump in there. My thought is if somebody else ties to it. there
Do it
should
next
be a
meeting.
backup pump
And
for
I
that.
don't know, like I say, just for some reason, I thought that Kelsey had said that that was big enough for more to add on to, but I might be wrong, that was a long time ago.
Yeah, I don't remember either.
I don't remember. So that's something that,
Okay.
Okay, so the board wants me to check with the engineers on that? You guys?
Yep.
agree with it? Okay,
Yep.
Okay.
okay. Right, well, we can
at least get the discussion started for Lisa here then.
Yeah, no,
So-
that's all kind of I'm asking.
Or maybe we could find the invoicing or billing.
Because I know we had it all in front of us at one time.
Okay.
Okay,
And maybe give a phone call to Kelsey to ask.
moving on.
So as far as she has more questions, like your list of, did we answer number 2 or do you want?
Just $1,000 to hook into the main, right?
Yep,
And
for
then-
each.
For each, okay.
Mhm.
Yep, that was,
We'll double, yeah, is it 1,000? I thought it was something was
It
1,500.
is 1,000 each.
It is 1,000 each,
Yep.
okay.
The curb stop deposit or whatever it is, curb deposit
Okay,
is
I could do-
1,500. So are there a list of approved contractors? I'm sure that you have a contractor list in the office. However, anybody that you choose can easily apply for that contractor license.
Okay.
License.
Okay. yeah, for any kind of work that you
Boring.
would need, digging,
We'll check
boring.
them out with the state then.
Okay, okay, perfect. I just wasn't sure if there was a list that I had to go by.
Nope.
And
As long
then,
as they're licensed and insured, we're good.
okay, so then I can just come to you guys and check and see. And then my last one is just ordinance on having farm animals. I know that there was some concern there. We,
I've got those for you if you want to write them down.
yes,
All right, so it's,
yeah,
yep, it's 8.0107. That's the prohibition on farm animals.
okay,
8.0108 is the prohibition on strays. 8.0109 has to deal with animal noise.
okay,
And 8.0110 outlines the penalty for a violation of it. It's just an infraction.
awesome.
You also want to check out 12.0409.13. It
Okay.
says if you need a special land use conditional permit and you don't get one, there's a criminal penalty for that. It's actually a Class B misdemeanor,
Okay.
which is higher than an infraction.
Gotcha,
So you want to check those out.
perfect.
Yeah.
That I will do.
Okay.
Okay, well, thank you guys for your
Thank
time.
you.
Appreciate it.
Next we have
We'll
Doug.
be in touch, Lisa.
Hello. Hello.
Hello.
First, I'd like to thank the city clerk's office for getting me on the docket here to speak. And I'd also like to thank the members of the city council to hearing my request. And I did want to ask one question because I want to make sure that, I'm not violating anything. Is it okay or not that I record this session I'm having for the purpose of my team who couldn't be here tonight to kind of
Yeah, that's fine.
Is that okay? I'm going to go ahead and start that now then. Okay, thank you very much. I do have a statement or an overview that I can read that would pretty much cover a lot of the questions or answers to why we're seeking the use or the purpose of this hall. But I do realize that also in the sake of time, and it wouldn't take that long to go through it, but you do have it in front of you. And if you'd rather me not do that, then we can go however you wish.
Do you want to just give us a summary? I think I don't want to speak for everybody, but all I would need would be a summary, I think.
Okay. We're wanting to start, it's a ministry, it's a startup ministry. It doesn't belong to any oversight with a denomination, a church or an organization or a business or anything like that. It's more a labor of love to the community with regards to being able to reach families and reach children with the moral and message of a Christian faith. Okay. And so we wanted to have a place where we could meet for the purpose of fellowship, being able to worship and sing, teach, and also have drama productions, mini skits and things like that, or illustrated sermons to be able to get the family units, children, teens, parents, and others involved with being a part of participation in that. And the goal is to be able to bring some kind of a unity in the community with reaching needs like the hands and feet of the Lord, people out there that have needs or may, want some prayer or may not be able to mow their yard or may not be able to shovel their snow, that we might be able to do that. We also want to link with others in the community to be able to be in support of the community at large. So that would kind of look like, let's say we needed to, there needed to be some volunteer and something that the city was doing that we might be a part and come alongside of you guys. And it may not have any spiritual connotation at all, but it would be a self-help for some type of need like that. Now, I can't assure you or guarantee you that there's going to always be an availability for that, but I do understand that. The other thing I wanted to mention is that we are not trying to become the traditional church or start a traditional setting for another church in town. However, I will not rule out that that possibility could happen if there was such interest to where it grew to a point where it needed to have some type of a full-time shepherd to be able to meet those needs. And if that was the case, then we certainly would not want to be able to do it in this setting, because I think it might be a conflict of interest with the use of this building in the city. Having said that, I also had talked, I used to be on the park board. So I do know some of the people, I do know some of the interactions of the city and things like that. And I was there for a short stint. But having said all that, I don't really feel like, that we're going to come in here and try to occupy this space so that it couldn't be used for the purpose intended for other people that may have a wedding, reception, or the Girl Scouts or the gun thing. And so we can work around those things. The only thing we would ask is that if we did have a set time that we was going to meet, and we would do it for a duration of time, meaning into the months and probably into next spring or whatever, then we would not want to just be bumped for any reason. But we do realize that this is a city building, and if city has business, that we need to kind of flex around that, and we'd be open to that. The other thing that I wanted to mention, and then I'll silence and hear what you have to say. But the other thing I want to mention is that, if we are using the facility and there was some type of an issue that came up where it was like kind of urgent, I would like to be able to bounce from a morning session of, let's say, we'd meet normally at 10:30 or 10 o'clock. And maybe if nothing was going on in the evening, that we'd be flexible to move to a 6 o'clock type of a service or something. And I'd only want to do that if there was notice of that, because, if it just happens without the notice, and it makes it kind of hard if there's people coming in different directions. So I would just ask for that courtesy on that. But if we were scheduled in to do something, then I'd hope that that would be something that we could count on. So.
I personally see nothing wrong with this. Kim, can you remind me? I believe 4-H meets once a month on Sundays.
Scouts does on
Is
Sunday.
it Girl Scouts? Okay, and do you have approximate time on that?
Is it 5 or 6? Yeah.
Okay. Can you think of anything else minus, of course, like graduation weekend
The hunter safety. weekend.
and then the hunter safety?
I mean, those are, usually pre-booked in advance long enough that people, that, we can get coming up notice. I mean, we talked about it, and and Anita and Terry, that, if they're not booked in, we're not gonna book in a baby shower.
Right.
But the ones that are pre-booked, Girl Scouts, which are booked in year round. Hunter safety, does it what, 3 times a year? Something like that. And they could possibly do it Sunday evening instead of having their Sunday morning. And we usually know what, 3 weeks, sometimes a month in advance on that.
Is this just through September, or is this year round, or?
No, we're looking.
September.
Right. That's because to kind of launch it and make it open to the official, kind of to the public, we wanted to make sure that we had secured some time at the beginning of September through September. And from that point, having visited with you folks, then we would know as to whether or not this is something we need to pursue or can pursue. other thing I would like to mention, just because we did cover this, you know, there are people that's involved with this, and they have places of worship or houses of worship that they go to. And I want to try to respect that and not try to pull them away from, that, and then, they miss that. So if it was possible, and we did talk about this, that if nothing was going on, let's say in the evening at 6, and there was nothing going on in the morning, we had it. Now, I was told that it would be a possibility that we could also have a second time in that day if it was available to us for the rental of that day. So I just want to get clarification on it if I could, so I know how I could plan if it's possible.
A full day's rent.
Yeah.
I would say if you have it reserved, it is for the
For
full
the entire
day.
day.
I've got a question for Kim. Kim, when the Girl Scouts have their meetings, do they ever change times on short notice?
Usually not, they could call and cancel, but I would be, I normally do not change time. If they set it for 5 o'clock, they're either here or not.
My only concern is that because we're talking about potential First Amendment issues, I want to be able to say that whatever has applied in the past to other groups would apply here. We can't show favoritism or anything like that. So whatever's gone on for other groups in the past is what we have to do here.
And how long do the Girl Scouts meet? Like an hour, 2 hours?
Depends on if they have crafting or whatever they're doing that night.
Are they renting the hall when they meet?
They just have
It
it.
was a service that was given to them years ago.
Yep.
Right.
Kind of like the park district having their movie dates on Sundays afternoons.
Or Andrew, you talking like that whole church and state thing, like we couldn't do terrorist thing here or whatever?
Yeah, because it's an establishment clause issue. You can't favor one religion over any others, and you can't really favor religion over non-religion. So whatever was done in the past for other groups is kind of what we're limited to here. We can't expand anything, or else we potentially have that kind of problem where we favor religion over non-religion. So all groups have to be treated the same.
I mean, you actually like an established religious entity or no?
No, we're not. And if you look in the handout I gave you, I did establish a 501c3 called In His Grip Ministries, Inc. And that was a ministry that I did in the area of working with the homeless, street people, and people who are drug addiction. And we used to take them off the street and house them and teach them a trade and all that kind of stuff. But also on the spiritual end of it, minister the things in the Word of God. And so we did do that. So I have had that kind of level, but this is not that at all. And I'm hoping it doesn't go there, because I really just want to be under the banner of a servant of the Lord. We call it Jubilee Fellowship just because, but Jubilee Fellowship, we have no aim to get a bank account or get articles of organization because we established an EIN or LLC or whatever, an S corp or whatever. We don't want to do that.
And that's when we would have an issue, I would assume? Or no?
I'm simply saying how we've treated other people in the past. This is how we have to treat them. Correct me if I'm wrong. This is a group of people who know each other getting together to do something for a purpose.
Right.
Yes, sir.
It's not incorporated. It's not official. You're not tied to any denomination or anything
Nope.
like that.
We're not collecting offerings.
They're just doing this.
I mean, like
We're
the
not
Lions
collecting-
Club meeting down here.
Yeah,
Right.
exactly.
Yeah, we're not collecting offerings. We're not trying to solicit funds, but each of us, what we do is we put money in our savings account so that when we do an outreach, I don't know if you remember Power in the Park happened last summer about this time in Minot. That was an event that I put together. So it's kind of like those things cost some money. And so we just kind of pitch in on that kind of thing. And that's what we're wanting to do. But if I could, to this gentleman's question. So what I understood you to say was if somebody was an atheist or somebody's a Christian or they're this or that, you can't discriminate as to the rental of this place with regards to whatever it is that they do. I mean, provided it's not something unhealthy, right?
Well, when we use the word discriminate, I want to be clear. We can't show you favoritism
Right.
because you're practicing a religious thing here.
Yes. Okay.
So, and we can't prevent you from doing something that we've let someone else have.
Right. So I just want to make sure I understand this.
You're going to be treated like everybody else.
Right. But I'll be free to be able to teach what I believe
Yeah.
and not have to be inclusive of something I don't believe.
It's, I mean, you're renting it out. It's your space. for
Okay.
that
I
time.
just want to make
Yeah.
sure because that would be kind of an issue. Was that? Okay. You know, this world, the way everything's going, you just got to kind of make sure, you know, so.
You got that right.
So is this something that you're looking for basically these dates through September, right, for now?
Well, we actually would like to have a relationship and continue with occupying the space if there's availability. Otherwise, we probably should be seeking another direction. We did kind of have something lined up, but that kind of fell through for you know, different reasons and nothing on our side. But so this was kind of, you know, the only reason I found out about this because I served on the board and they kind of brought it to my attention, hey, they rent this room out. So I thought,
Under safety for sure will be in October, I'm guessing.
right. And I
Pretty
understand.
positive of that.
It's my understanding that they kind of roll through the weekend and they go into Sunday
Sunday to
and they're
Saturday.
usually done around 2:00 or something out of here. On those times that we know that's happening, we could give the word out and say, hey, we're going to do a 6:00 time
Right,
together,
right.
fellowship.
Yeah.
Can we just do this for the month of September for now?
That's, yeah, we're looking.
Yeah. That we're not, nothing's in concrete beyond that, you know, that time. We're going to do it for September. And if you guys, yeah, if you have the availability, you know, one of the reasons why, I had other reasons as well that were personal, but one of the reasons why I stepped down from the board was because I didn't want that to be a conflict of interest because of, you know, the park board versus me doing something like this. So I've tried to get some of those hurdles that may come up out of the way because I really, this is my heart. This is what I do, you know, and that's what I feel called to do. And so I'm just here asking if you guys would be open to that, and we'd like to move forward on that.
Is this something that normally we would even be addressed to us?
That was a question I was gonna ask too.
Because I mean, normally if you want to rent the hall out for whatever reason, can't you? For the most part. I mean, depending on alcohol, you gotta have this or that or whatever.
Ms. Kimberly?
The reason we sent it to you guys is that they wanted to do a longer, and we've never done one of those. Where, I mean.
To
this
set
could
up a
go-
long-term
it could go
tie-up.
For 6 months,
Yep.
it could become a long-term, and we have never done that.
It sounds like you do it for the Girl Scouts though.
That was one Sunday a month. They're talking every Sunday for possibly 6 months, so. It would be something to throw at you guys because it had never been done.
Any further questions?
Yeah, I just wanted to say that's why we understand what this is to the community and to the city, that relationship. And so we are flexible, you know, within reason to having, like, for instance, let's say that we were doing it and then the park board or somebody decided, hey, you know what, we need to start doing movie night like they've done in the past. And the day that is most convenient for them is Sunday at 6 p.m. to do that, or 5 o'clock or whatever. Then we would want to respect that and say, yeah, okay, we understand that goes on for a period of time. So we need to make a shift to say, okay, you know, we'll be at 10:30. Okay. If we was planning on saying, hey, we got it for the day, let's go ahead and do something special tonight because some other people and volunteers are coming and want to do some stuff. And that was on that Sunday. And then the city came and said, hey, you know, we've kind of had a little change of plans here. We want to be flexible about that. You know, we're not gonna say, hey, we got this, you know, you're not gonna see that from us. So I just wanted to let you know, if there was long-term, I think you'll see that we are committed to working with things like that.
So were you getting a lot of us, you want us to approve it for a month, what are you requesting or what?
I don't think we need to approve it. I don't
I mean,
think
I
we
get-
need to approve it.
He kind of wants it long-term. I mean, like Kim says, she doesn't had anything ever for every Sunday deal.
Right.
He just did it for a month. I don't want to see him back in a month or 2 or 3 months anyway. So I mean, I guess if you just want to make a motion for a 6-month deal and be done, I don't know.
Well, I think we should have it a little shorter than that.
Well, the application is for 1 month.
Do it for a month, I'll close it. We'll already, the next meeting, we can.
Well, you can put a stipulation that you approve it for the month of September with the outcome, if it being positive, to continue to allow that going forward,
We won't know that until October.
and then you would hear the negative.
Right. Or you could tell the city clerk's office, whatever, hey, you know what, we don't want to continue with that. And they just let me know and we're cool, you know? Or you could say, hey, things are going well, seems like a good relationship. It brings a little bit of revenue in for us. We want to continue with this and just let me know. Or do I have to come back and talk to you guys again? You know, I guess I could do that, you know?
Well, I think at that time you would just write up, if you wanted to do it for the month of October, I think you would just go to the clerk's office, write up a deal. If it's longer than a month, I guess, since we've set precedents, then you would just do it.
So I can just go month to month,
We could go on a monthly basis, yeah.
right, without having to reappear and try to
I
get
guess
approval.
I'd like
Yep.
to see it just for the month of September, bring it back up first of the month, and we either say yes or no. Continue doing it.
I think the main thing here is just going to be communication, and
Mhm.
obviously you communicate well, and you can communicate well with
I
these.
think it'd just be communicate with
ladies.
Kim and the office ladies. If you want to keep going, keep going. If you come a time when you don't think it's working for you and you want to be done, then you can be done.
So I'll make a motion to approve a 90-day trial.
Motion by Ms. Johns and a second by Ms. Wheeler. Any further discussion?
You said 90 days?
Any further discussion? Voice vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion pass. Blane Nancy Klein.
Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Yes, thank you, Doug.
Okay, okay, absolutely.
Come on. Okay.
Thanks, Blake.
Thank you.
It's nice to stretch my legs for.
Yeah, unfinished business, city hall generator update. Anita? Or does,
AJ needs it.
do you have it?
I just have a quick question about the whole deal with Doug. Say we get not enough snow for Public Works to come in and plow, but they have it rented out. Are we still supposed to come in and clear the sidewalk in the parking lot for them? Or what's gonna happen with a deal like that?
It'll cost us more to pay you overtime to come in here than it will be
Exactly.
at the city hall.
So Doug, if there's a shovel available, would you be willing to shovel around the sidewalk for people?
No.
Yep. I did submit this and you may have that, but we didn't talk about it. And that is that we have it's a banner, you know, and it says Jubilee Fellowship on it. And so what I wanted to know is we have our own self-supporting poles and everything and concrete base. It's in, you know, the 3-gallon buckets or whatever that we would set out here when we did do it. And we also was going to hang one off like the hooks on the ceiling during the time we're here. And the other thing I want to let you know is I have my own PA system. I wouldn't even utilize any of the PA system here, wouldn't task anybody with that. I have my own portable PA system to be able to play music through and things like that. So I just want to, and the other thing was I wasn't sure about the PowerPoint, but we do use a PowerPoint, and I would want to use our PowerPoint to project on the screen, but we wouldn't have a need to use y'all's. I mean, unless it was like part of the rental or something, but those
You
are,
can use whatever in here as part of the rental.
okay. All right. And you don't have any problem with me putting the signs up? And
I don't think so.
all right. And the last question I had is, if we was to do this long-term, and we wouldn't know that now, but later on, is there a problem referencing the address of, was it 100 South Pleasant? To reference the address, if we had a little card or invite to somebody, or is that an issue?
No, he's asking if his invites could include the address.
I don't see anything wrong
Yeah.
with that.
Yep.
It's the same thing as a
Nope.
flyer
Same
to
thing
me.
as
Right.
a baby shower or a wedding or, yep.
Yeah, it's like a brochure or a
You
flyer.
All
have-
right.
you have all
Just
the-
want to make sure those
Yeah, I
are
know what
how
you're
it
saying.
goes. All right.
Yep.
You didn't put anything down here on how much alcohol you're gonna serve?
Even when we do communion, we use grape juice. But no,
Thanks, Doug.
we don't smoke pot either. We don't handle snakes.
You're
Okay?
just-
Well, I'm really not coming.
Thank you.
Okay, generator update. Anita.
Yeah, okay. Checked out on this bids for generator that were approved for the hall. And as you see here, we got communication. Actually, it was communicated and on order, but they will not potentially receive it until January. Transfer switch, talked about coming sometime in August, and Josh from Burlington Electric was gonna try to make points to come and visit the facility here again. So just wanted to give you guys an update on that. The Burlington Electric did have that bid accepted. We signed off on that, and got that paperwork up to them to get that, diesel generator here that was approved for the hall.
Right back here, and if the generator won't be here till January, my recommendation is to have them come in and do the pad before freeze up, and any trenching or anything else they need to do. Because otherwise, we have a generator sitting there we can't use until fall next year.
Well, they didn't figure they would actually install, if it's not coming to January, install would happen next spring. They'd wait till spring.
Where is this generator gonna sit for 6 months till things thaw out?
In their shop.
I guess I would have done the same thing. If you have an ice storm, you have the power, there's your generator.
Talked about the pad with him, maybe potentially being the concrete piece that sits here, right outside the door?
Sidewalk,
No. Between the two buildings.
generator's going outside the fence.
He said it was coming inside the fence.
That's news to me. I thought it was going out kind of where the loader part.
Well, anyway, that's why he was gonna come and actually visit the location again.
Okay.
I think you should check into doing, having it already so they can install it when it gets here. If there's underground stuff, but the pad needs to be.
For $2,200, I think we could pour the pad ourselves. For $200 worth of concrete.
Right, but they have until January to do it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean, or freeze up, I should say.
Anyway, Second Street Northeast, Ms. Shaw.
Just an update from the last one. I visited with Dana regarding the deed. None of the roads are deeded, is what he told me. So when we traded Second for Pleasant, it was done through council with council's approval. He said if we would like to change it back, they would take it back. They would dig the ditches back out at a charge to the city. They would make it like it was when they had it. And there was no guarantee that they would clean it because right now, if you look at Century Code, anything that is a county road inside the interior city limits of a city, the city is basically responsible for, but the county does do it as a bonus.
Courtesy?
I don't know what the word is I want to use, but they do it like Pleasant. They do clean that and they do sweep it. They don't have to. But they will put that, if we want, they'll put second back as it was, and they will put the speed limit back up to 25, and it will have full range of whatever vehicle was driven on at that time, which is from your semis to everything.
Full truck traffic.
So it will be full traffic at 25 miles an hour. Any questions? That was his suggestion.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, my next one, we put,
You guys all agree that we just leave it as it is?
Well, I would like to think
Unless
about it,
there's
yeah.
somebody gonna make a motion otherwise.
I appreciate that.
Number 2,
the craft home, they have tore the shed off. I didn't get by there today to see if they got it pulled out. As soon as that trailer is out of there, I need to let, goodness, First District Health Unit, no? Okay. As soon as it is out, First District Health, I will let them know. They will come out and test the soil. I know
Yay.
there was some questions on that. So, and it isn't him holding it up, it is Eisman Mobile Home. So as soon as Eisman gets out here, gets it pulled out of here, the ground will get tested and then the new one will go in. I know it's been a long process, but it isn't all his fault.
Awesome.
is
Kim.
that it? Thank you.
Kimberly, bridge guardrail, go.
Oh, I was doing that under the new, but
Oh, sorry.
I can do it here.
I was waiting for the cow update because that's on this one, right?
Pardon?
The cow update. We're not doing that? Nope.
No, that's coming up in another.
Okay.
Jenny called and asked about, there's no guardrails yet on the overpass. So I called the state. Jim Redding retired, so we don't have an inn in anymore. The gentleman I talked to, his name was Chad Beggs. They're not putting guardrails up because there is recoverable use area there, is what I was told.
Okay, I drove over that. I mean,
Yeah,
I was
I know, it's
sitting
scary.
at the bottom of it, looking up.
I know.
It's very unsafe. And then I drove over it before I came here tonight. And there is
There
no
is not
recoverable.
recoverable, so I don't
recoverable
know
And there's a
what we do.
guardrail going up. There's a guardrail going up the east side, and then there's a guardrail halfway across the top, and then it just stops.
I know.
But I mean, I guess,
I don't know
ask
where,
you all to just go behind the Devil's Fire and look up, and a vehicle
drive
could
it.
come flying over at any time. It's unsafe for our guys to mow up there. I don't even want them anywhere close. Plus, they have whoever, the people who did the work. There's that, the ground up there is so, I don't know if anybody ever smoothed it out, but I mean, there's ruts 2 feet deep up there. I feel like the project is not complete, and I don't know what we need to do to fix
don't
it. But
either.
if they don't plan to put a guardrail, I most certainly would like a letter from our attorney to the Department of Transportation stating that this is not even close to being what our community is about.
what do you think driving that, chief? Okay.
I'll go out there and look at it.
Thank you, Kimberly. I don't know if anybody else has seen it, but it is absolutely, and what they call a recoverable pad is, okay, so here's my lane of traffic, here's the white line, here's like the,
It's like a
I don't
shoulder.
know, a 4-foot shoulder, and then there's the drop off, and that's it.
And that's what I said to him, and he said, that's how they're doing them nowadays. And I said, oh, you're serious? You're really not gonna put a guardrail up? And I said, there's a business right below it. There's enough area, he said, for recoverability. And I said, okay, I'd like to see a semi stop going over that.
I feel like they put the guardrail coming up the bridge instead of going down the bridge, in my opinion. Like if they were going to leave out part of the guardrail.
Well, he said the reason for it, and he explained the reason for a guardrail is so that they don't hit something starting up. It isn't for cars going over.
So they don't hit the side of the bridge.
Right. They'll ride up the guardrail and then Right.
I'd like to see that.
Anyways,
Wouldn't want to do it.
I did get the name of the two new guys that are, that did take Jim's spot, so, we can do some more research on it. Chief said he'd drive it, and, so did Anthony, so we'll go from there.
Thanks, Kevin.
Okay, thank you. Number 4, Beautification Committee.
Will you forgive me, external audit? Just so you guys know, your
Oh.
external audit, you
We
have
already talked about that.
$350 left.
Oh, that on it. I'm sorry.
How much is done?
January, February, and March,
And it's all balanced?
balanced,
Of 2021?
yes.
So did they find enough, how to say it? Out of them 3 months, so it could guide you on doing the rest?
No.
Or do we need,
No, I mean, well, and I don't know that I need much guiding.
you know what I
Or-
mean?
or
Do we
that
have
the
enough
office-
information?
Right, I don't know that the office needs training or guiding. We have a credit card program. And Kim has seen the pain of it. We both, see, there's transactions that happened in June, for instance, that all of a sudden, right now, we're being aware of, that didn't get applied to their accounts. Those were 3 of them today or yesterday, or today that came in. So those, we have a call out to our credit card program because for one, we don't have a contract with them.
You have a payment that just is hitting after this meeting?
Well, no, the payment was recorded.
Right.
But we have no, when we looked at it in June, it wasn't there, but it's there today. And now we have 3 residents. One of them actually called and said, why isn't my account up to date? I paid this bill. Now we look today and it's there. So we have a call out to the credit card program and I'm waiting for response because we have no contract with them. I want to find out, like if there's a cutoff date at the end of the month that they say, okay, all the transactions on this day are going to hit next month. Because that's what we're struggling the most with. And then these random. And there was another thing, right? What was
Well,
it?
sometimes they'll post, say, I'm
Oh.
just gonna use for instance, June 28th. They don't hit our bank account till July 2nd. So you've receipted it in June, and get carried over to the banking in July.
So
So do they have a cutoff date?
The posting dates are all jacked up. And then, not only that, but, what, the third thing on this, the batching. I mean, randomly you get 10 people maybe making a payment in a day and you'd think they'd come through, but they might, they might batch a few of those together. You don't ever know what that balance is that hits our bank. So there's these things from our credit card program.
Is this through that Black Mountain or whatever,
No,
or?
this is through PACE. This is a credit card option we give our residents.
Well,
to
maybe
be
we
a
just need to look at a
courtesy.
different,
Yeah.
We might need to
Get
look
rid of-
at,
And just do it,
oh,
check or cash, I don't know, get rid of it if it's making that big a mess.
we might need to look at other options. And I'm so glad that you guys are on board with this, or that you could be on board with this. Because if we didn't have this, I'm gonna tell you, we would nail the reconciliation, no problem.
So what,
And maybe we need to take a break from it for a bit to
how many
say,
accounts do you have that are actually use that? I mean,
you
out
could
of-
use it right now if you wanted to.
Right, but I mean, do you have that many people using it that is,
Yeah.
that is causing us this much
Yep.
trouble?
That's why you just spent $7,000, yeah, to reconcile 3 months worth. We might have 150 people
Sometimes
using it
there's
a
2 or
month.
3 days after.
We have citations that come through it that are off.
That we have to find a simpler route if we're gonna keep having trouble.
Yeah, I would agree. I think you just need to make some phone calls and get a different unit or whatever.
So another credit card option or even taking
I
a
don't
break
know if they
from a
do.
credit
I
card
don't know.
until you balance?
No, I don't think you take a break from it. It is what it is.
I think there are a lot of people that, I used to use it too, but, I think there are a lot of people that do use it.
But if it's causing us up to $7,000 in a month, being off on our books and then you straighten it out the next month, is it worth it?
A different option.
Yeah.
You just need a different vendor. I mean, and you have to be very careful. I mean, yeah,
I
you think you're
definitely
paying for
wanna-
this and you're actually paying for something else. I mean, they nickel and dime you constantly. I mean, I hear it all the time with my wife. It's always something with credit card machine. Is there something through Black Mountain you can get?
I was just gonna say, there's a company through Black Mountain. I use it where I work, and it's not foolproof by any means. There's still the cutoff dates. There's still, if they pay on the 29th, it maybe doesn't post till the 1st. So I think you're gonna run into it with the company we used before, Pace, did the same exact thing. So
It just
you're
seems
gonna,
Worse now than ever. Because some of them will post individually, and then all of a sudden you'll get 5 of them, they match together, and I haven't figured out why.
so I think I can probably tell you that they do batch. Okay, so municipal court, there's 2 different types. If they call and pay over the phone, there's 2 different batches right there. Same with utility billing. If they pay online by themselves, or if they call over the phone, there's 2 different batches right there. Then if they pay for a license or something online, there's your 5th. So
But I mean, they'll put them all in one lump. Like we'll have, I'm just gonna use pull a number out here. So we have $50 payment, $50 payment, and $50 payment. They all show individual. And then the next one will be $469.
Right, random
Random number
Mhm.
that has maybe 8
payment.
payments in it. But you don't know which ones they batch together because they're so random on how they list them.
It's a mess, and I am glad you guys are hearing it. And
It is, it's horrible.
I mean, is there some sort of program where they can actually like use it and it goes into some sort of a batch for us, and then every morning or at 4 o'clock, you literally pull what's in there that day and we manually run the cards ourselves somewhere? I don't know.
So what I use a service called Law Pay. This is what I use for my firm. And whenever someone makes a payment, it ties into whatever card they use. And an acknowledgement of receipt is sent to a dedicated email address. It says that this card was run for this account for this amount, and the money was received. So we get an email for every transaction, we get an email.
Nice.
And then at the end of the day, at the end of the business day, at a dedicated time every day, all the money that was collected that day is automatically transferred to my bank account. I don't know if there are programs like this for other types of businesses or entities, but this is called Law Pay and it's specially designed for law firms.
See, I can pull it up and I can see every payment made by a customer.
can you call Pace and just see if you can check their,
She's got to call in, so.
just see if they can change their cutoff times? Because I mean, if it is every day at, 5
5
p.m.
Question, that pending on the posting dates and if they can individualize batches. Because if they can tell us those 2 things, maybe we could figure things out better.
Okay.
But yeah, that's your update on your external audit.
Okay.
Sorry.
Are you requesting anything? Do you want this balance? What was how far did we plan on them going?
Well, it would have been nice to get some
Up to date?
some documentation on how they're figuring out pace.
And you haven't?
I don't have a documentation, no.
no, I would just assume there's only one way to do it. And that there is a report that you can run though, to see exactly which name or which things they have in each batch. It's all detective work, unfortunately.
It'll list the date and the time, is all it does. It doesn't say how they got to our bank.
I just think we need a new one.
Yeah, Yeah.
I
Yeah.
guess I would just look into a new one, bring it back to council next month and give us a little
I agree.
presentation.
Well, I guess that's what I was talking about, this external audit. Are we looking at, see how January, February, and March is done? Is that right?
I believe so, I believe that's the case, yes. And I think we have, well, on the sheet here, we have $350 left that's been approved to pay, to move forward. And that's, let's see, yeah, it's,
So are we,
we spent all this, what, $7,000? All
Yep.
but $350. And if she wants to,
we have January and February done, not even March.
And March, she did confirm March's.
Okay.
And I think it was just through May, right?
I think May, her and I determined we had, got that already transacted through. So she's in April.
He plans, we still want her to do April and get this up to date, so it's correct for you? Or are you gonna, what do you want?
I would say so. I mean,
I
it
think
sounds
we
like it's getting faster. What I heard was that January was tough, but February was not, March was not. If she can finish April and these two did May, let's just
so we
let her
need
finish
April-
and get it
we
done.
need April done, and
Mhm.
that's it.
Well, and then button up May or whatever she was talking about.
do we need to appropriate more funds or set aside more funds for it?
How much are you gonna guess that we need for them 2 months? Because I think it needs to be done myself. You can't go so far and then sit with 2, 3 months and then basically check the gate balance. for what's going on. 2 months.
Is it
Rough
balanced?
Idea on hours, $100 an hour times.
Can you ask her and bring it to us on Friday? And those are the only two things for that agenda though, just really quick with that one? Or do you have an idea?
I have no idea what she would charge for it, no.
Was she gonna have to give us an idea if it's gonna be $50 or, $400 or $4,000? I mean, I know she's not gonna tell us that.
What is it balanced now or no? Because you said something about from May, it's
When
good.
we went through May transactions, because I had changed, I'd finessed some things in our Black Mountain software so that it would itemize on the statement versus the transactions. We thought we had May solidified. I haven't had it even a chance to look at June, I'll tell you, I'll be honest. And it's August, or no?
Do you want to, do you want to authorize another $1,000 for a month or what's your thought on it?
I guess I'll make a motion to authorize up to $2,000 to use to get our books as far up to date as they can.
I'll second it.
We have a motion to authorize Megan to spend another 2,000. I think we have 350 left now, so another 2,000 to keep figuring out our bank account or what do you call it? Reconciliation.
How much is it off? Do you know?
It was $7,000 to $10,000, right?
It was, yeah, but now if they've reconciled January, February, I mean, is
So
it,
January, February, March is zero.
But how much are you still off?
We should be the beginning dollar amount that we started in January with, which I don't remember. I'd have to go pull
But
it.
we were off 7 to 10 grand per month.
Whatever we started
No, it's
January
carrying
with,
on.
it was seven
Not per
grand
month.
if I remember. I can
Carries
go
on
pull
pull
for
it
the
if
next
you'd
month.
like.
You're off in January.
but
you're
it,
off in
it's zeroed out as if everything was correct.
With that adjustment.
And February
So
would have
what
been the
that- with
same,
that adjustment
March
is
would have been the
changing.
same. I mean, if she figures out April, May, whatever, it's not changing, I guess. I mean,
What is it change?
That adjustment.
the adjustment's not changing.
for
No, she
January,
made a
February,
one-time adjustment journal voucher, and since then, from what I was told, February balanced perfectly without
as
it,
in
March
March.
balanced. She's halfway through April. And then she has May,
But
and
she
these
does-
guys already did that.
Hopefully she can give this report to Anita so she can go forward and start correcting it herself, or figuring out the issue or whatever.
Well, she never figured out where the $7,000 was.
No, that's previous.
Yeah,
Whatever-
correct. It's just
whatever.
that it's zeroed. They made the adjustment and everything that's been done since January is been correct. It's just the 7,000 is whatever the adjustment was
From,
from them
Years
putting this
before.
in this account instead of that account or whatever the case might be. I think all she's gonna do is balance April, May and June, and you're not gonna get anything for the $2,000 except that the $7,000 adjustment is still a $7,000 adjustment.
So what are we off for each month now?
We're not.
Of course we are. We don't have it. It's not done for April.
They adjusted the 7,000. It's the,
They haven't done it yet.
When are we gonna do that?
I don't know. I'm just telling you, they haven't done it yet because they've been working on correcting all these other ones.
Prior to that. That's why
Right.
I'm pushing to put more money to get our bank reconciliation done.
Carla?
The bank is reconciled through March. Difference is now to zero, essentially, except for, has the adjustment been made or not yet? The adjustment's been
it
made.
hasn't been made in accounting. It gets made on the each bank rec. That,
No, she made a journal voucher in January. I'm 1,000% sure. It was like
Okay.
$6,700.
I guess.
I
you-
was
you know
included
more
on
than
an
I
email.
know. Yep.
So if it's been adjusted and it's balanced through the end of March, it should be, if you understand and can figure out how batches are hitting the bank account, you should be able to balance it and reconcile it on, in our office from here forward. If you need help doing that, I'd be happy to help do that. And I wouldn't charge the city for my time.
Okay, we have a motion on the floor by Brent to spend the money. Did we have a second?
Jenny did, right, Jenny?
Mhm.
We have a motion on the floor to spend an additional $2,000 with Megan. And a motion by Brent, seconded by Jenny. Roll call vote. Brent,
Yes.
Jenny,
Yes.
Twyla,
No,
Tiffany. Steve,
no,
Aiden,
No,
oh, we have a tie. I'm thinking that with the credit card, with the changes in the credit card program, hopefully that would straighten things out for us in August. And if we've already got Megan on the line for the rest, that I would say we go ahead and spend the 2,000 to get as far as we can, and hopefully by then the office can handle it from there on. So I vote yes.
ridiculous.
Okay. Beautification Committee.
Yeah.
Okay. You don't have anybody here from your beautification committee project or whatever it is going on. But we did get a card. Just want to put this out there. Thank you for making Surrey look nice. The flower arrangements coming into Surrey are so nice. Lots of time and hard work were put into that. That was, Tom. No. Looks like maybe a Jan Hansen. I don't know. I thought that was pretty nice. And then I also want to notate that I actually got a personal phone call from somebody completely out of Surrey that asked if I had anything to do with the planters. And I had to say I hadn't, other than encourage Ms. Tolson to come to the board and ask you for approval for money on it. But at this point, we have a letter from Connie Tolson and Laura Volk saying that they would like to turn that beautification project over to resident Tara Nip and Aiden. Or if you'll take that.
I'd like to know when the Beautification Committee became a committee, because it wasn't brought before this council since I've been sitting up here.
It wasn't really the committee. It was
Well,
a person that put together volunteers that helped execute the ideas that.
And we voted on the money, Twyla.
did I say anything about the money,
I
Brent?
don't know. What are you worried about, Ms.
I'm
Martin?
not worried about,
One at a time.
I'm asking when this beautification committee, because that's what they're referring to themselves as in this letter, became a committee.
There was never an official committee
you.
established.
Yeah, never an official city committee.
That's what you're going after, the committee part, instead of the
My Lord.
insulting crap on the uncensored page? That's what you're going after?
I'm
Because
not
somebody didn't
acknowledging
make the
him.
committee?
Okay.
The volunteers that did it? And the teenagers that did it?
We have, we have a resignation on the floor. Whether we'll accept it or not, I think is the question.
It's not an official city committee. We have no power to accept any sort of resignation. It's a private thing.
Exactly.
So if the individuals named here want to take it over, they're going to have to talk to Ms. Tollefson and Ms. Volk about it. The city can't facilitate.
Okay. Thank you.
It's pretty disgusting as far as I'm concerned.
Okay, new business, Park District chili cook-off. Mr. Park?
Yeah, no. I don't know if Steve, you want to talk to her? Do you want me to talk towards it?
On what is this? Oh.
Your car show, the car show the Park District's putting on. We're gonna do a second car show on, September 25th. Last year's car show was awesome, and our chili cook-off. With that though, we have a local permit submitted at hand. Last year, you guys waived the fee to the Park District to do a raffle to raise some funds for the new park. Kind of just throwing that up as an option again. I don't know if they want to pay the raffle permit fee, not a big deal. Just putting it up there. But to know then, we would ask that the street be closed off that day, if that's okay. As well as, I believe the Big Dog has been shown some interest in maybe doing a 24-hour special liquor license for that day.
If they served alcohol beer on that day, they'd have to hire a police officer at $50 an hour. For how many police the police department serves. I just want to make sure.
So you'd like it done the same as last year, right? You need a motion
For the liquor license,
I'll make a motion to approve the request for the Surrey Car Show and waive the fee for the raffle.
I'm sorry, missed it.
To approve the car and chili cook-off and waive the fee for the raffle.
Who did that one?
I did.
Steve
All
and
right,
Brent.
Steve and Brent
And Brent.
second.
Do you want to include the special liquor license transfer?
To approve
And yeah, do the liquor license thing, yeah.
So you moved to approve the car show,
Waive the raffle fee
waive the raffle fee,
and include the 24-hour liquor license.
and include approval of the special liquor license?
Correct.
We have a motion by Steve, seconded by Brent. Voice vote, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, motion passed.
Awesome, it's gonna be fun. Except I threw a pot of chili on the door.
Blaine's got a question.
Yes. That is
September
September
5th.
25th.
On 25th.
It'll be a Saturday, yep. So please, please, please spread the word, come.
Okay, the next item, number 2, the clerk hours. You want to do that, or me, or Nita? It's a letter from the clerk, Terry Beck. Dear City Council, with the improvement of my mother's health and having enough work at the City of Surrey to work full-time, I've considered the option of working full-time. I would like to change from part-time to full-time status at 36 hours a week plus benefits. Thank you for your consideration and the opportunity to be part of the team serving the community. Terry Beck. Terry was offered full-time earlier in the year, but her mother was injured and she needed some more care. But that apparently has passed.
I'll make a motion to have her up to 36 hours.
I'll second it.
Yep.
Steve, who second? Twyla? Voice vote, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passed. Zoning conditional use recommendation for existing chickens. Ordinance update.
That's me again. You guys should have a copy of the motion that was made in planning and zoning. On. No, this one. The roosters?
Yeah,
Or no roosters?
No roosters.
so if they have existing chickens,
We are going to write a letter if you guys approve this, because of the goat deal. Now, there's like 3 families that do have chickens that were never caught, that in our rural egg says they cannot have. We would like to extend to them a conditional use for $150. It's gonna be a one-time payment, and once they get rid of those chickens, they're done. But as long as they have them, they will be able to keep them until, they die, whatever.
Their current chickens,
current chickens.
not current chicken numbers, current physical
Chickens.
chickens.
Right,
Yes.
and,
Okay.
once they fill that out, once they fill their form out, it'll come to planning and zoning, and then it'll come to council for approval with the amount. We're gonna let them say, okay, well, what we did was we went in and we looked at what Minot has. Minot lets their extraterritorial RAs have 6 chickens per acre, up to 20 chickens.
No roosters.
No, that's not a chicken.
Yes, it is.
Well,
Spoil.
roosters do the
It is, sure, we got three.
Kim, where'd
They have
that
50
map go that we used to have in here?
I don't
The
know.
zoning map?
So if they have X amount of chickens, that's all they can get. They can't add more or take away more or anything, so somebody's gonna be doing a head count on their chickens, I'm just asking.
Yes. Kevin is going to go out and check up.
Go count your chickens, Kevin.
Kevin Nelson.
It does. It does, really. No,
Truly it is.
once they fill out their form, Kevin Nelson is going to go over there and check it out. And then he will come back with, okay, say they've got a dozen chickens, that's what they will be allowed.
For
Is he
how
on
long?
planning and zoning? Kevin
the
Nelson?
president,
Is
yes.
Kevin Nelson on planning and
He's the
zoning?
president of zoning, yeah.
So they're gonna be allowed that amount of chickens.
Till they die, or they get rid of them.
No, not that amount of chickens, those specific chickens.
So we're charging,
So if
so we're
one dies, they
charging them
can't
to
replace.
get rid of their chickens.
No, we're
Well,
charging
they're
them to
not,
keep them.
what we're doing is giving them the option to keep their chickens or get rid of them.
Right.
And if they keep them, we're charging them to keep them.
Yes.
If,
It's not allowable.
But if 5 die, they can't buy 5 more.
And they don't
And
live
some
in
of them
town.
were
right?
grandfathered in at one
We
time.
can't have this many people
So
talking at
it's
once.
really hard to say, you have to get rid of your chickens when, at the time of our extraterritorial going in, they had chickens. They still can keep those chickens.
How about the cattle down?
They're gone. Well, I will rephrase that. The chicken is going to, the cow is going to slaughter September 1st. The goats are gone.
No, but isn't there more cattle to the west down there that's still in that?
That's not in our area.
And that is egg.
okay, if the coyote gets a chicken, can they replace it?
I just asked that too. If 1 dies, 5 die, can they replace them?
Once
No.
they're gone, they're gone.
What's,
I mean, they
so,
applied for
They're gonna
a
have to be
dozen
tattooed
chickens,
and
that's
lasered.
what they get.
What if,
okay, so if they die off,
And if
they can't,
decide to get rid of their chickens, then they have no chickens.
so if they have 10 chickens, and you go out and you count that they had 10 chickens and they paid for their $150,
They can have 10 chickens.
every year you're gonna go out there and you're gonna count that they have 10
We are gonna
chickens.
go, actually, when we discussed it, it was gonna be every 6 months.
So every 6 months, you're gonna go make sure they have 10 chickens. As long as they have 10 chickens, you can't do anything about it.
No, they're the same 10 chickens.
Are you gonna make sure they're the same? You gonna mark them?
I don't know, I'm not the
Oh,
Well,
deputy
we
auditor.
aren't gonna know if they're the same chickens. If they
I mean,
have
I-
10 chickens, they have 10
Because if it's
It
me
just
and I'm,
seems
if I'm
ridiculous to me.
gonna have 10 chickens,
It's 10 chickens is 10 chickens. I don't care if they're red, brown, blue, or green. If they've applied, they paid their $150 to have 10 chickens, they can have 10 chickens.
forever,
And that's what it says.
Forever.
That's how they want to get rid of them.
right? They just kinda,
They
Treat-
cannot
Couple
have
of years
more
in
than
my
10
book.
I'd say a few years at the most.
No, we're giving them the option to say how many chickens they want to have, but we've got, when we talked about it, we talked about X amount, it depends on how many acres they have, but they will not be allowed more than 20.
More than 20 chickens?
Correct.
What if they already have more than 20?
Then they gotta get rid of them. It's not a farm.
I think the last
I'm not saying
not
it
a farm.
is, but I'm just saying.
We're into this
gonna be
thing for
counting
20
chickens
minutes.
Every 6 months.
It's said and done.
The last time was 35.
So do you guys accept their recommendation?
yes, do we need a
No, this is an
motion?
ordinance change.
We need a
So-
motion
It
to
won't be an ordinance change, it's conditional use right now.
condition,
That's all we're gonna do with that.
do we have to approve the conditional use permit
That's what we are
for-
asking for you guys to do.
6 chickens per
Because
acre?
the conditional use
Yes.
has to come to you guys after. planning
That's
and
not in
zoning.
here.
I,
Okay,
It's a motion. It's a recommendation to accept the zoning board's motion.
okay.
No,
Do we
I
have a
just think-
motion
There's
to
no
accept
number in
the?
the motion.
I just
the-
think we're, right
What
now,
do you mean, number?
Mr. Schultz, can you
Yep.
give me opinion on this?
Subject.
We're attempting to change or amend or make a variation to one of our current ordinances. So wouldn't that take the first and second reading?
Not if it's conditional use.
Are the terms of the ordinance changing, or are the guidelines that the planning and zoning board going to use to approve or deny conditional use permits changing?
I don't know.
The ordinance isn't changing. No
Ordinance
chickens
is
are
not
allowed.
changing.
They're giving them a conditional
The
use
guidelines.
for
Right, so-
$150 for the 3 families that currently have chickens.
Right, so it sounds like you're making a general rule in advance of what you're prepared to accept on planning and zoning. That doesn't require us to change an ordinance.
Okay.
I'm fine with not going through the ordinance process for that.
Basically just let
Do we need a resolution then? or-
I'd say a resolution would be fine.
Guidelines are being, yeah,
Shouldn't be a big freaking deal.
Okay, we need,
requested to be changed for this situation.
I make a motion to go along with the planning and zoning's guidance on the chickens.
I'll second it.
voice vote, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I didn't hear anything from over there.
No,
No and no? All right, roll call. Brent?
Yes.
Steve?
Yes.
Twyla?
Yes.
Aiden?
Yes.
Jennifer?
no.
And Tiffany? Motion pass. Mayor's report.
No, I got 2 more things on here.
Oh, no.
You have an ordinance update. It's in your packet.